They say a uniform should command respect. They say the stripes stitched into fabric carry the weight of sacrifice. But for Sergeant Michael Brooks, a decorated black soldier who had served 3 tours overseas, that truth was shattered the day he walked into Donna's Café, a small-town diner on the edge of a lonely highway. Inside, the walls smelled of coffee and gossip. The regulars didn't come for the food, they came for familiarity. And at the center of it all was Donna Miller, the queen of the counter. Her laugh was loud, her opinions louder, and her prejudice hid behind a smile that showed teeth but not kindness. The bell above the door jingled as Michael stepped in, tall, calm, his uniform neatly pressed, boots polished, medals faintly catching the light. He didn't come for attention, only for a quiet cup of coffee. But Donna's eyes narrowed the moment she saw him. She leaned toward a customer and whispered, "What's he doing, dressed like that? Trying to play soldier. Probably looking for pity tips." Her words dripped with venom. A few chuckled. Others stayed silent, guilt heavy in their throats. Michael stood tall, his face calm but his eyes heavy with quiet pain. He ordered his coffee. Donna smirked. "So what's your story, huh? Couldn't cut it in the real army? Or maybe you just like dressing up, making people feel sorry for you?" The laughter that followed was thin and cruel. Michael sipped his coffee, voice low and steady. "Ma'am," he said, "respect is free. But so is ignorance. You just chose yours." The room froze. Even Donna's grin faltered, for a moment. Then arrogance took over. "Respect?" she snapped. "Don't come in here wearing hand-me-down costumes expecting me to salute. You ain't special." But before she could say more, a chair scraped in the corner. A group of bikers, veterans, their jackets marked with service patches, stood up. One of them stepped forward. His voice was gravel rough. "Lady, you got a lot of nerve mocking a man who's done more for this country than you'll ever do serving eggs and coffee." The cafe erupted, half the room glaring at Donna, the other half sinking into shame. Michael stood quietly, placed a 20 on the counter, and nodded. "Keep the change," he said softly. "You'll need it more than I do." As he turned to leave, Donna shouted, desperate to hurt him. "That's right, walk away. That's what you people do, always looking for sympathy. Not in my cafe." But what she didn't know, someone had been recording. Every cruel word, every sneer, every insult. By nightfall, the video was everywhere. Millions watched. Millions were furious. Hashtags trended. Veterans groups rallied. Donna's Café, once the town's pride, became a symbol of shame. By morning, her phone was full of threats and cancellations. Customers vanished. Suppliers cut ties. Staff walked out. Even her friends went silent. Donna tried to fight back, claiming the video was taken out of context, that it was just a joke. But the truth was in her voice, the venom too sharp to disguise. Meanwhile, Michael said nothing. No interviews, no posts, no anger. He simply lived his life, volunteering at the Veterans Hospital, helping those still fighting their silent wars, mentoring new recruits, and tucking his young daughter into bed each night with a quiet smile that hid his own pain. But pride doesn't die easily. In her empty cafe, Donna sat alone, bitterness rotting her heart. Every night she whispered to herself, "He did this to me. That soldier ruined my life." The lie comforted her more than the truth ever could. And one stormy night, staring at her reflection in the cafe's dark window, she muttered, "If he thinks he's won, he's wrong. I'll make him regret ever stepping in here." Weeks passed. The outrage faded, but Donna's hatred didn't. One afternoon, she saw Michael walking home from the hospital, his daughter skipping beside him. Even after everything, he looked respected, admired. The sight made her blood boil. That night she began spreading new lies, darker ones. She whispered to anyone who'd listen that Michael was violent, unstable, dangerous. Claimed he'd threatened her, followed her. Most people didn't believe her, but some did. And that was enough. Soon whispers turned to suspicion. Neighbors avoided him. Police cruisers slowed near his house. Even his daughter asked one night, "Daddy, why are people scared of you?" It broke him inside, but he stayed calm, believing truth would win. Yet hatred, once loud enough, can drown out truth. Donna wasn't done. She filed fake reports, sent letters to city council, did everything to make him a villain. But fate had its own justice. One rainy night, Donna left a bar, angry and drunk, ranting to her last remaining friend. The road was slick, her vision blurred. The car skidded, slammed into a guardrail, flames bursting from the hood. She screamed for help, and who appeared out of the rain but Michael Brooks, walking home from his volunteer shift. His instincts kicked in. He dropped his bag, sprinted toward the wreckage, ripping open twisted metal with hands that remembered battlefield rescues. He pulled her out seconds before the car exploded, laid her gently on the wet ground, and whispered, "Stay with me, Donna. Stay with me." Her eyes fluttered open. She saw his face, the same man she'd mocked, humiliated, and tried to destroy. Through pain and tears, she whispered, why would you save me after everything?" Michael looked at her, rain dripping down his face, his voice calm and heavy. "Because that's what soldiers do, ma'am. We protect, even when we're not respected." The ambulance arrived. Reporters followed soon after. The man she tried to ruin became the town's hero again. Veterans stood taller. Children in classrooms held flags with his picture. Michael never mentioned Donna's name, not once. But everyone knew. And Donna, broken, bandaged, humiliated, lay in her hospital bed replaying every cruel word she had ever said. She wept, realizing too late that she had tried to destroy a man who had shown her more mercy than she ever deserved. But as the sun rose and she wiped her tears, a knock came at the door. A man in a dark suit entered, holding a folder. His voice was cold. "Donna Miller. I'm with the district attorney's office. We need to talk. There are consequences for the false statements and defamation you spread. You're not a victim, ma'am, you're under investigation." Donna froze. Her heart pounded. Her empire of lies was gone. The truth she'd feared most had finally come knocking. The camera pans out, rain tapping softly against the hospital window. And the narrator's voice cuts in low and heavy. "Mercy may save a life, but justice always demands the truth. Michael Brooks gave Donna mercy, but the law won't. And what's coming next will test her soul in ways she never imagined." The world thought the story was over, that Donna Miller had learned her lesson after the night Michael Brooks saved her life from the burning wreck. But some lessons don't end with apologies. Some end with consequences. Because while Michael moved on, living quietly, serving his community, Donna's reckoning was only beginning. It started with that knock on her hospital door, a man in a dark suit, rain dripping from his coat. His voice was calm but sharp. "Donna Miller. I'm from the district attorney's office. We need to talk." Her throat went dry. "Talk about what?" she whispered, though deep down she already knew. He opened a folder and laid out photos, documents, screenshots of her online posts, the false reports she'd filed, the letters she'd written to smear Michael's name. "You're being investigated for defamation, harassment, and filing false claims against a decorated veteran. You've done serious damage, ma'am, and the law doesn't take that lightly." Donna's breath hitched. "I didn't mean to," she began, but the man's expression didn't change. "Intent doesn't erase the truth," he said simply, closing the folder. "You'll receive an official notice soon." And with that, he walked away, leaving Donna staring at the rain-soaked window, realizing her downfall wasn't over, it was just beginning. Weeks passed. Donna was discharged from the hospital, her arms still in a sling, her cafe padlocked and empty. The once bustling diner now sat like a tombstone on the edge of the highway, a silent reminder of what arrogance had cost her. Bills piled up. Letters from lawyers arrived. The town that once praised her now avoided her. The same faces that used to smile at her now turned away. Every whisper she once controlled now carried her shame. But what cut deepest wasn't the lawsuits or the gossip, it was the silence from Michael Brooks. He never spoke about her, never showed anger, never even acknowledged her name. That silence haunted her more than hatred ever could. Every night she replayed his words in her mind, because that's what soldiers do, ma'am, we protect, even when we're not respected. The court date came faster than she expected. Reporters filled the steps outside the courthouse. Donna walked in with trembling hands, cameras flashing, microphones in her face. Donna, do you have any comment? Do you regret your actions? She said nothing. Inside, the courtroom was quiet, heavy with tension. On one side sat Donna, pale and nervous. On the other, Michael Brooks, calm, composed, dressed in a dark suit. He didn't glare at her. He didn't even look angry. He just sat there, hands folded, like a man who had already made peace with everything. The prosecutor laid out the evidence, the videos, the online posts, the fake police complaints. Each one played out like a confession she couldn't escape. The judge's face hardened. Donna tried to defend herself, tears streaming, claiming she was misunderstood, that she'd been driven by fear, that the internet blew things out of proportion. But the truth was too clear. She had tried to destroy a man who had done nothing but stand tall. When the judge asked if Michael wished to speak, the courtroom held its breath. He stood slowly, his voice low but steady. "Your Honor, I don't want revenge," he said. "I just want peace. I served my country to protect freedom, not to watch people tear each other down out of hate." Donna made her choices. I made mine. I've forgiven her, but forgiveness doesn't erase accountability. Let the law do what it must. The judge nodded. The gavel came down. Donna was ordered to pay damages, community service, and public restitution for defamation. The café, her life's work, would be auctioned to cover legal costs. As she sat there trembling, the room felt smaller than ever. She looked at Michael, the man she mocked, humiliated, and nearly destroyed, and whispered, "I'm sorry." He met her eyes just once, and said softly, "Do better with what's left." Then he turned and walked out, leaving her in silence once more. Months passed. Michael's life quietly flourished. The Veterans Hospital where he volunteered named a wing in his honor. His daughter proudly wore her father's medals to school on Veterans Day. The town that once ignored him now celebrated him, not for the uniform he wore, but for the heart beneath it. As for Donna, she started her community service at the same hospital. It was part of her sentence, to serve the very people she had once disrespected. The first day, she wore plain clothes, no makeup, her pride stripped bare. The nurses eyed her coldly. The veterans wouldn't speak to her. And when she saw Michael down the hall, helping a patient into a wheelchair, her breath caught. He noticed her but didn't stop. Just nodded once, a gesture of acknowledgement, not friendship. It was more grace than she deserved. Days turned into weeks. Donna worked quietly, cleaning, serving meals, folding sheets. For the first time, she listened, really listened, to the stories of the men and women she once dismissed. Stories of loss, courage, trauma, survival. She began to see what true strength looked like, and how small her cruelty had been in comparison. One evening, as she wiped tables in the hospital cafeteria, she overheard a young recruit telling Michael, "Sir, I don't think I can handle deployment. I'm scared." Michael smiled gently and said, "Courage isn't about not being scared, son. It's about standing up anyway." His words struck Donna like a lightning bolt. Because for the first time in her life, she realized how much fear had ruled her, fear of change, fear of people who weren't like her, fear of losing control. When her service ended, Donna didn't return to the café. She sold what was left and donated the money to the Veterans Hospital. It wasn't redemption, just the first step toward it. One quiet afternoon, she left a letter on Michael's desk. No cameras. No headlines. Just words from a broken woman trying to rebuild. It read, "You saved me twice, once from that car, and once from myself. I don't expect forgiveness, but I'm learning from your example. Thank you for showing me what real honor looks like." Michael read it silently, folded it, and placed it in his jacket pocket. No reply, just a quiet smile as he looked out the hospital window. Years later, the old cafe was turned into a veterans outreach center. A mural was painted on the wall, not of soldiers in battle, but of a single man offering his hand to help another rise. Below it, in bold letters, the words read, "Respect is free. So is ignorance. Choose wisely." Sometimes the people who break us are the ones who teach us the hardest lessons. Michael Brooks lost his peace but found purpose. Donna Miller lost everything, but found her soul. And maybe that's what justice truly looks like, not revenge, but redemption.